Hello guys, have you been guessing where you can get the best movie recap? Well, it's here on Riveted. The Flowers of War. Hello guys, welcome to Riveted. Today, I will be giving a recap on the movie The Flowers of War. This movie is a historical drama war film released on the 16th of December 2011. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell. You know how we roll. Grab a pack of popcorn or soda and let's get started. The movie began with people running for their lives from the Japanese soldiers who invaded Nanking in China and subdued it. It was the 13th of December 1937. Some ladies on a horse, some young girls who were later revealed as convent students from a cathedral, and a man who was a Westerner and a mortician were all running for their lives. The Japanese soldiers found the hideout of some Chinese and killed them. Two of the convent students hid in a tank, where the Westerner named John joined them after escaping death from a Japanese soldier who almost shot him. He asked the girls to lead him to Winchester Cathedral since they were also going there. He was going to help them bury their cathedral father, Father Ingleman. The Chinese soldiers took a shooting position as they sighted many convent student girls and a boy running towards them, and the Japanese soldiers chasing them. They waited for the girls and the boys to pass, and a gunfight between the two countries' soldiers ensued. The Chinese soldiers were short of weapons and only threw bombs and shot the Japanese soldiers. But the Japanese had armored tanks and shot the Chinese through it and by their foot soldiers too. The girls and the boy got to the cathedral, and so also did John and the two other girls. The boy, named George, told John that Father Ingleman flew away with a bomb when he brought out the dead body of a cock that was smelling in the church. John told George that he had to get paid whether the body of Father Ingleman was there or not, and with what he had been through before getting to the cathedral, he should raise the price. But George said he had no money, and there was no money in the church either. George asked if John could help to fix the church's truck so that they could all leave Nanking through it, but John requested more money if he would do that. As they got into the church, they met the girls fighting. One of the girls was blaming another, named Shu, for the death of one of them, named Zhen. She said Shu's father was a traitor, and instead of him getting all of them away, he ran away. John dissolved the fight and gave the girls the flour he brought for them to make bread. He went to Father Ingleman's room but couldn't find any money. He found wine instead. He decided to sleep in Father Ingleman's room. George revealed that he was an orphan and was adopted by Father Ingleman. Some woman later revealed as the prostitutes of the Qinghai River came knocking on the cathedral's gate. George told them to go to the refugees camp, but one of them said the cook called Gu promised to let them stay, and she had paid him with her body. When George didn't agree, one of the women who looked and acted very calm threw her box over the fence and climbed. The others followed her lead, and George could not stop them. The girls, student, looked at the woman through the giant window in the church, while John also flirted with the calm woman from the window. The women took over the cellar and settled in. As John made bread for the girls, the women smelt it and came out of the cellar. The calm woman, who seemed to be the leader named Yumo, spoke English too. She flirted with John, and the other ladies giggled. The girls were disgusted. John suggested that they get intimate that night. That night, Mo went to John's room and told him to help them get out of Nanking. John declined and said he couldn't help them. Mo left without having any intimate thing with John. She told John to help them first and she'll give herself to him. The major of the Chinese soldiers brought a dying soldier to the cellar of the cathedral. He told the women to take care of him and help him clean his wounds. The dying soldier was a young boy. The major said he wanted him to die in a warm place. Before the major left the church, he saw the girls praying. Mo stopped him to apologize to him for the other woman's rude behavior and insult, because they thought he wanted to hide with them in the cellar. The major slept across the street waiting for the Japanese soldiers when they tried to attack the church. The second morning, one of the girls didn't allow some of the prostitutes to go into their toilet and a fight ensued. As they fought, a bullet came in from the giant window and hit one of the girls. They ran to hide while the Japanese soldiers got in and tried to molest the girls. All the prostitutes hid in the cellar and were not seen by the Japanese soldiers. The major quickly laid an ambush for the Japanese soldiers. John dressed himself up as a father the night before when he was drunk. That morning, he wanted to hide at first, but as he heard the shrieking cries of the girls, he took the church's flag and yelled for the soldiers to stop. For a moment, they seemed to listen to him, and all the girls assembled behind him. But the major of the Japanese soldiers cut off the flag, and again all the soldiers ran after the girls. They threw one of the girls over the stairs and she died. Just as two of the soldiers were about to rape Shu, Major Lee, the Chinese soldier major, shot the two, and this drew the attention of the Japanese soldiers. They all ran outside to look for the Chinese soldiers. Major Lee attacked the Japanese soldiers, killing a lot of them. The colonel of the Japanese soldiers came to the church. John acted as the resident priest and told the colonel not to harm the children. The colonel introduced himself as Colonel Hasegawa and apologized for the soldiers' unruly behavior and said he would deploy soldiers for the safety of the church and the children. The colonel also brought potatoes for them. He asked if he could play the piano. He played a song which he narrated as a Japanese folk song that talked about his home, rivers, and things he missed. He asked if the children could sing very well and that he would be back in a couple of days to hear them sing. John buried the two girls that died during the pandemonium. Shu asked if John won't leave them, but he couldn't answer the question. He later told George, who wanted him to act as a priest, that he was not one and he only stayed at the cathedral because he was looking for money and the bed was comfortable. John decided to stay and be a priest for the children. The next day, Shu's father came to see her. He said she could have left with him, but Shu wouldn't leave her classmates because she didn't want to be seen as a traitor. She yelled at her father for being a traitor, and as he stood up, one of the girls called her a traitor. She ran off. John saw Shu's father and pleaded with him to help him get tools for the truck to fix it and help the children escape. Mr. Meng, Shu's father, said there was no way to get it, but with the pleas from John, he said he would try. John also told him to try and get a permit from the Japanese. John continued to repair the truck as he waited for the tools. He came into the church and met Mo, who had been waiting for him. She asked how they would get past the guards even if they fixed the truck. John said he hasn't figured it out yet. They saw Shu watching them and she ran away. Mo told John that Shu had a crush on him. She then narrated a part of her own story. She said she was also at the convent for 6 years when she was younger, and that was where she learned how to speak English very well. She talked about how the others were jealous of her and how she had a crush on a young, handsome man with lovely eyes and not a dirty, bearded man like John. John laughed and hurried to his room to shave his beards. Shu listened to their conversation. The sick soldier in the cellar finally died due to his injury. It was rotten. John buried him. As the women and the girls watched from the window, Mo noticed that the two of the women, Duo and Lan, were missing. One of the women explained that Duo and Lan got out of the church because Duo wanted to get pita strings to be able to play a song for Pusheng, the young soldier who just died. He was like her brother, and Lan insisted on going because she wanted to get her earrings. The woman said she tried to stop them, but she couldn't. John came in at that moment, and Mo explained what happened. Mo pleaded with John to help them look for Duo and Lan. At first, he hesitated, but later agreed to help. The guards let John and George get out of the cathedral. They said they wanted to look for food and candles for the girls because they will sing for Hasegawa to make him happy. Duo and Lan got to the hotel. Duo got her pita strings, and Lan found her earrings. But on their way out, the Japanese soldiers saw them and chased them with the other women. Duo and Lan threw their jackets to a place and hid in the other direction, waiting for the soldiers to pass them. As the soldiers passed, the girls tried to escape, but were seen when Duo discovered that she dropped the pita strings and they went back to the brothel to pick it. Lan was shot instantly while Duo jumped into the river. The Japanese soldiers jumped into the river and brought Duo out. They tied her to a chair and took their turns to rape her. Duo bit off the ear of one of the soldiers and he killed her. By the time John and George got to the brothel, they met a dead Duo and Lan. John picked the string and returned to the cathedral. John lied to Mo that the girls were hit by a stray bullet. That night, Shu's father brought all the tools needed and a permit to get through Japanese soldiers to John. He said the Japanese didn't trust him anymore and the permit was for his daughter to get her out from Nanking. Mr. Meng entrusted Shu's care in John's hand and left. John continued to fix the truck. The next day, Colonel Hasegawa came and the girls sang for him. After the song, he gave John an invitation letter for the girls as a choir to come to the celebration of the Japanese for finally taking Nanking. John declined the invitation and pleaded with Hasegawa that the girls wouldn't go, but Hasegawa said the order was from above and the girls must be prepared by 4 p.m. the next day. One of the prostitutes was stiff-necked and wanted to watch the girls sing. She got caught when her cat leaped off her hand. Shu quickly drew the lady and lied that she was one of them and that her uniform was bad. That was why she didn't sing with them. All John's pleas for the girls not to go for the celebration fell on deaf ears. He knew better what the soldiers wanted. It was more the music. One of Hasegawa's subordinates counted the girls and left. John tried to convince the girls that they wouldn't be raped, but they were scared. Shu convinced the girls that they are better off committing suicide by jumping off the cathedral tower. They are saved at the last moment when Mo convinced her group to protect the schoolgirls by taking their place at the Japanese party. As there are only 12 prostitutes, George volunteered as well. John initially opposed their self-sacrificing decision, but he relented and assisted in disguising them, using his skills as a mortician to adjust their makeup and cut their hair to appear like schoolgirls. The prostitutes also created knives out of broken windows and hid them in their cloaks. The next day, the 13 prostitutes dressed as schoolgirls are led away by the unsuspecting Japanese soldiers. After they departed, Miller hid the schoolgirls on the truck he repaired and using a single-person permit provided by Mr. Meng and drove out of Nanking. In the last scene, the truck was seen driving on a deserted highway heading west away from the Japanese army. The fate of the 13 flowers remained unknown. The end. Alright guys, we have come to the end of the Flowers of War movie recap. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more movie recaps. Make sure to always check in on Riveted for a more exciting and detailed movie recap. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.